Hi everyone. Good to see everyone.
Hey Ronald, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Hey, my man. How are you doing,
Hey.
Nathan?
I'm good. I'm
All right,
good.
fantastic, fantastic. And I can see the dark cores. So how are you, Tanya and King?
We're doing good.
Doing great.
Wonderful,
Oh, I didn't even see
wonderful.
you guys there. Oh, how you doing, guys?
We're good.
Full team here on today.
Yeah.
And Gabe just joined. Gabe, can you hear us?
Okay, great. So,
Thank you.
Ginny, did you give the intro as to what's the whole purpose of this call already?
Yep, yep,
Okay,
I did.
wonderful, wonderful. So, to Ginny's point, I suspect is that this is kind of an ideation call to really review all the data we collected on site, but then also just to give you guys a sense of the direction we're going based on the questionnaire that we sent out to you guys. So you guys were great in answering those questions, and we try our best to implement as much of them. This again is just to ideate to give you guys some feedback in terms of how we interpreted the items on the questionnaire, and then following that we'll actually do another iteration just to make sure we capture all of it. So this here, we're going to go into a lot of stuff. I don't want you guys to feel overwhelmed by it. We're just going to talk about it, and then following the call, we'll summarize the notes and we'll send you guys some keynotes as to what we discussed. You guys can also have access to a 3D model as well, plus the floor plans that we will discuss on this call. And then you guys will also have access to some other documentation that you can also modify, and not modify but manipulate. And that's the same thing goes for Nathan and his team as well. You guys will have access to the 3D model, so you guys can actually be able to start looking at how you may do your quantity takeoffs. All right. Okay, so I know we captured, so we do a few things, and you guys are already aware of that. We first come out on site, we do a site visit, we understand that zoning wise, your property actually allows for this type of 4-unit conversion. That's really high level what the whole plan here is that we discussed on site. And correct me if I'm wrong, it was to add two independent dwelling units, rental units, into the basement. The main floor is going to be converted or be utilized by the parents and and auntie. And then of course they're going to add a second story where it is your family will live. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So that's kind of the high overarching like sort of principle that we used here, and you'll see that in the drawing. So we came out to site, we discussed this item, then after Jose came out to site as well, completed the site measure with our 3D laser scanner. We have all that data, by the way, that we continuously refer to. Because I'm standing in front of the screen, I'm actually unable to actually share that portion, but Jose, you can try to share. Hopefully it doesn't collapse on your computer. It's a very heavy file, so we tend to not share it because in most cases it fails when someone else uses it. My computer is equipped to use that software. And then the other thing that we do, we then take that data and we create a digital twin. Now that's the 3D model that we'll actually share with you, Darkos, as well as Nathan, contractor. So that way you guys can actually slice that model up and basically look at any aspect of that. And we can show you guys that. We'll send a quick video just showing you guys step by step how to actually manipulate the 3D model. But in addition to that, you'll just get the 2D floor plans and PDFs. I mean, those are great as well. So as you can see here, Jose is actually showing on the screen the data that we captured on site. So you'll notice that we are able to walk through and take measurements on any of the items that you guys can see on the screen here. So if we need to verify anything, we very well can. And we'll be able to discuss it at length if you guys like. So I just wanted to show this. We're not going to get too much into this. This is the existing home. Everyone on this call already saw this property and we know what's there. Now what it is we want to look at here is how we take that and we actually use that data to actually develop what we call a digital twin. A digital twin is just a replica of your property. So could you show the single story existing overlaid with the point cloud for me, Jose? Okay, so again, and why am I showing this is just to let you guys know we are not guessing what the shape, form, measurements, or volume scale of your home is. Where this is very precise. It's actually in some areas precise to a 16th of an inch, but overall you're looking at about half of an inch accuracy, right? So you know it's good for determining whether or not things could be moved or not. We're able to identify a lot of the structural elements, and even though it doesn't see behind walls, we're actually able to determine where things are. And I do want to sort of preface the call with this sort of is it epilogue, right? Because I want you guys to know, like we actually do take a lot of time in ensuring that we're presenting the most accurate drawings. In some cases, and Jose can attest to this, we may miss the placement of a window or so forth. That's not a big deal. We'll make sure that we verify this before we submit for building permit against what existed and so forth. So that's going to appear on the drawings. And then of course, once we complete these here, we then present some design options. And you guys will receive a copy of the design options. All the design options are basically 2D layouts of the space, but I will also send the 3D layout of the space as well. So you guys have the ability to manipulate it as you guys see fit to sort of dissect it and figure out what was happening or what is happening. Okay, so that's going to be the kind of three elements we'll kind of go in and out of, but we're primarily going to focus at this stage on the actual 2D drawings, okay? So we're going to start in the basement because the basement is where there's a lot of the structural sort of important aspect of the drawing, and we want to talk about that. But also the basement is going to have a few modifications, one being that we're adding a second unit, and the other being we have to add an entry into that unit. So we do have some options for that. But first, let's talk about the rear unit. So Jose, you were right. So let's go back to the rear unit in the back. By the way, before we get kind of into the details here, do you guys have any questions right now?
No, I'm okay. All right.
Yeah, okay, wonderful. Okay, so you guys are aware of this. So right up here, right, that's the entry into this rear unit. So as you walk to the back of the property, there's an existing walkout, and that's right here. That's the entry into the basement. Into this basement here, you have like this whole sort of space here, and that space is actually the open concept kitchen, living, dining room. And then of course, right over in this area, this is where you have the existing bedroom. You guys may have remember or recall on site, but even if you didn't, we had to make this room meet the building code requirement for natural light. So that would mean either we had to shrink the room or we had to add a larger window. We are always going to try to see what's the most cost-effective way to make things work. In this case, you'll notice that we added this closet. You might say to yourself like, Ron, we don't want a closet there. You guys may not want it, but we need to do it there just so the numbers can work out from a natural light standpoint, right? So that's a building code requirement. Again, we had to put the closet in there, but the bedroom really hasn't changed. It's still going to remain as a bedroom. And then as you go down a slightly lower, we actually did make some mods here to the washroom in this area here. Because what it is we're essentially doing, you'll notice, could you highlight the fire separated wall, Jose? So we are going to, I'd prefer if you do it in a solid versus a block, or you can just select them so they're blue. But you'll notice that we have to fire separate the units, right? So again, you guys must have heard this in some conversation during your research. We have to fire separate the apartments so that they're not actually they're independent. And in doing so, we have to create fire separated walls. In this case, we are keeping the interior stairs. So that stairs that's there right now, we are keeping the interior stairs, which you will see. But the wall, this wall right here, that wall is actually the wall that's separating this unit here, right? And of course, you do have your furnace, which we're keeping intact. We're keeping the furnace room as intact. So we're leaving this entire unit as a one-bedroom open concept kitchen, living, dining room, and we're leaving the furnace and the hot water tank, or you just decide to keep that as a utility room. And we'll talk a little bit about services as we go through the presentation. But essentially what we're trying to do here is create the most cost effective layout here. This is the minimum you can do to make this a legal suite without going overboard. This is literally a bit of drywall and some studs, and basically this thing is ready for rent. Okay, well, let's not get too excited, all right? Because we can't rent it out because the whole building is under renovation, all right? But this is the minimum amount of work that you would need to do to make this a legal suite, all right? And you can see, I want to really point out here that we're leaving the interior stairs on this option. And remember, I want to keep mentioning this. We have a few options. It's really, this conversation is to stimulate ideas. Maybe you guys might like an option 1, an option 2, or a combination of the both options, which we will develop. So I do want you guys to keep in mind that we always present a cost-effective option, and we always present an idealistic option. So let's take a little look at the idealistic option there, Jose. So same idea here. The same layout, so we're not changing the foundation footprint. We're not changing the footprint of the building. That would lead to a lot of requirements from a zoning standpoint, so we're not affecting that. But what I want you guys to take note of is now we have actually modified. You can see this wall. Could you give us the all layer, Jose, so we can see the walls that were removed? You'll see all the
One moment,
elements that were
please.
removed once Jose actually pops that up. So you guys can notice, do you guys see that there? There is the stairs that's being removed, it's shown in orange right now, and the wall that was previously there, that wall is also being removed, right? So you guys can see that wall has been removed, and now this unit becomes a slightly larger unit. It's always good when you have a slightly larger unit. And you'll also note a big change here is that we're now converting this utility space. If you want to select the room, Jose, so it shows up as blue, that'd be great. This space that was utility or furnished room before, that space is now going to be actually a bedroom, right? And you can turn off the demolition layer, Jose. Okay, so far everyone is tracking here?
More or less.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, so we have a bedroom here where the furnished room used to be. We have a open concept kitchen, living, dining room up here. We have the bedroom still remain existing. What we did though is that the washroom is a, if you want to say, ensuite privilege, but then there is that entry or that access to the bathroom as well, which is actually going to, this bedroom would be able to use that bathroom as well. Does that make sense? Right? So in this case here, this is where we're taking after repair value into account, because obviously a 2-bedroom unit is going to reappraise higher than a 1-bedroom unit, right? So this is something that we're taking into account. Obviously, you're talking a fair bit more work here. We're removing the interior stairs. We're demolishing the wall. We're making some modifications to enlarging the room. So we have to, of course, add more natural light into the space as well. And then we're adding a bedroom. So this means that what we're doing, we're actually removing all of the furnace equipment and stuff like that. And of course, as I said, maybe I'll just give a little bit of an insight into what, once you remove the furnace, it just means simply that we're now applying or providing each unit with its own heating and cooling source, right? Through, via the installation of heat pumps and blowers, whether it be a ducted or ductless system. And we can talk more about that. I'm sure Nathan is going to give you guys sufficient or ample information on the different options available. For now, I'm just saying that's one of the options that we're exploring once we turn this furnished room into a bedroom, all right? So I'll kind of leave a window, a few seconds here for any questions that you guys might have on this unit, because we have 4 more spaces that we need to talk about, or units.
Okay, quick question, Rana.
Yeah, sure.
So you said 2-bedroom. Is it 2-bedroom on one side of the unit? Because I'm looking at a furnished room, that's why it turned to a bedroom, right?
Yes, so the furnished room is going to turn to a bedroom. This furnished room is going
So
to turn
what
to a
about,
bedroom.
so that's 2-bedroom on one side of the basement. What about the other side?
We have
No,
one.
there's 1 bedroom on one side and there's another on the other side. So the 2 blue boxes you're looking at,
Okay.
so the existing bedroom remains where it is, and we're just taking out the furnace and converting that space into an actual bedroom.
Of course. So there's a divider because when you said a washroom can be used by the same bed.
The 2 bedroom.
Yes, yes. So that's a really good question. So what we're doing here, so Jose, could you highlight this door here? This is the door that is currently, no, I think this, did we change the door? Anyway, this is the door that's going to give access from bedroom, from the existing bedroom into the washroom. And
Yeah.
this door is going to give access from outside of that bedroom, because you imagine it's kind of odd that you walk into someone's, or like, you know, if it's two siblings or two friends, you walk through a friend bathroom to get into the washroom. So we created a separate entrance. The only how we're able to accomplish that is we had to demolish the wall and remove the stairs and move the fire separation, which is now down here, right? So this is now the fire separation. Does that make sense? I
So
mean,
Ronald,
none of this is supposed to make sense, by the way, so that's why we're here to answer the questions, right? So
so what we're looking at right now is just one of the 2 basement units.
we're only looking at the first basement unit at the rear of the property. We're showing you guys two options that you guys can explore. One
Okay.
being a 1 bedroom and the other being a 2 bedroom option. So you guys have the ability to explore any of those options, and we can make it work for you from a building code standpoint. Now, obviously, there's a budgetary standpoint, but Nathan will speak to that once he has the files and is able to assess that and do a quantity survey.
Can I ask another quick question? So with
No quick
this
questions, only slow questions, okay?
with this second option,
Yeah.
you're not needing to, like, is natural light not an issue for the master bedroom or bedroom 1, where you need to move the like create the closet or expand the window size?
Yeah, so that's good. So you guys actually have a window inside of this, if you want to say primary bedroom. There's a window that's here right now. That's this window.
Right.
And you guys also have a window that's right here. In fact, let me just come on this side here. So this here is a window as well, right? Right here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you guys have a window inside the furnace. That window is going to serve that second bedroom that we're creating. Right. So
Right.
we don't have to cut any windows out. That's the only reason why we would propose something like this, because we think like there is some economies of scale that you could utilize and some existing sort of some requirements that are already met with existing windows and so forth. So this option does give you 2 bedrooms, and I'll just kind of step out of the way if you're looking at the wrong screen. But this option gives you the ability to add 2 bedrooms into that space. Now, if you
So
guys,
I'll just add here, the new bedroom is made a little bit smaller by extending the new washroom to add that linen closet to meet that natural light requirement. So I'm marking it out in red. This part's new.
Got it. Okay. So that natural light requirement isn't per room, it's just the overall square footage of like living space has to have a certain amount of natural light. Is that how it works?
oh, who's asking that question? That's a very smart question there. So, yeah, so to answer that question, every room, as per the Ontario Building Code, has to meet a very specific percentage of glazed area based on the square foot of the room. So, a bedroom in this instance, and there's 2 cases, but in this instance, a bedroom needs to reflect 2.5% glazed area to the actual footprint or floor area of the room. So for example, if the bedroom was 100 square feet, the glazed area or the window, right, but I'm being very specific here, the glazed area of the window needs to represent 2.5%, right? So of course you can imagine that's 2.5 square feet, right? If it's a 100 square foot bedroom. Is my math correct there, Jose?
Yep.
Right, and the same, kitchen, living, dining room area, but more specifically the living dining room area, in this instance need to reflect 5%. So in the case where, again, using a round number of 100 square foot open concept living dining room kitchen area, the glazed area need to accumulatively be 5%, which in the case of a 100 square foot room, it would need to be at least 5 square feet, right? So while those numbers are not shown here, for just to avoid the confusion and cluttering the drawing on the presentation, which is kind of first iteration, we have taken all those numbers into account and we have to submit that to the building department, when we're actually sending it for review. Okay? Is that helpful?
I have a question. Oh. Go ahead. Done. Okay. My question, Ronald, is so in this second version, is this is like the electrical and everything separate from the rest of the house? I'm assuming the first one isn't separate.
Yeah, that's a good question. And in fact, all these units here, I mean, this property is going to have it's going to have really three components. Well, I should say really two overall. It's going to have a multi-generational component and it's going to have an income generating component. And the income generating component, I am going to be advising the Darkos that they should separate those elements completely, right? And I will say that because it's very difficult when you actually sort of lump the, for example, electrical bill into your lease or a sub type of lease, where it is you say like you are going to pay, 30% or 20% of the water bill and the gas bill. That becomes very complicated. So I will be advising Darkos that they should be separating the water as well as the electricity to ensure that every one of the rental suites have their own bills and are responsible for paying their own bills, so they don't have to have those weird interactions with future tenants and say like, well, you got to pay your 40% this month, right? Like that's just kind of an odd conversation to have. So that's why I'm going to advise them to do so. They don't have to, but that's the best way to streamline operation of the asset once it's done. Now, as far as the other generational component of the property, they could very well decide that, you know what, let's just do one bill because we can probably, and this is where you come in. You might say to them, well, if we just split it into 2 meters versus 4 meters, then 3 meters versus 4 meters, you can save X amount of dollars. So I'm not going to get into the weeds of it, but what I'm saying here, the generational component, which will be the main floor unit, as well as the second floor unit, could be on 1 meter, or they can decide to split that so everyone is just responsible for their usage. But I think what's more important is that in the future, if the Darkos decide at some point, like, look, you know what, we're moving on up and we want to move into, some other home, then now all the utilities are separated. This becomes a really easy asset to just operate as an income generating asset, right?
Yeah, I really agree with you too. Definitely agree on what you say. I think I may even have had this conversation with King on site last time I was there. I'm not 100% sure, but
Yes, you did.
yeah, it's just like, like to have everything mixed, it not only is the points that like Ronald's making, those ones are really good points. Even just like if something happens, like I'm not sure who's going to be living in this unit, but if you have a situation happen upstairs or like the water is leaking, whatever, and the only water shut off is downstairs, then it becomes an issue. Then multiple people are without water, or let's say the temperature in the house. I think that definitely this route in that sense, other than like the budgetary constraints, obviously, I don't know what the budget's like, but I would definitely agree with Ronald on that too, to see how, like, if you can separate the units, that's definitely ideal.
Okay, so Ronald and Nathan, that's I think that's the way that we are going. I think we talked about it last time you came here, Nathan. So we definitely want separate meters. That's we're looking at like 4 different meters, right?
Yeah, for each unit.
Each unit, and after we talk about the smart, having the smaller, what do you call it?
Oh,
The
furnace
furnace and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and water tank.
Water tanks.
hot water tank, yes.
Hot water tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So you can, within the basement units in particular, because this is a small unit, and any unit, I would not suggest this for your larger unit upstairs. But for every unit, these 2 smaller units downstairs, you can easily use a 21-gallon like hot water tank. It's about 24 inches tall or so. And that can go into a base cabinet or somewhere really inconspicuous. And that can really kind of give, as I say, give the unit, and I would stress that I would suggest that the hot water tanks be electric, right? Just simply because now once it's electric, you can put it onto that unit's specific electrical bill. They will pay for their hot water usage, which indirectly makes them think about how much hot water they're using when they're showering. So it inadvertently reduces the amount of water they use because they're not going to be running hot showers for like 3 hours, right? So this is kind of a smart way to do it. Again, it's really up to you guys based on installation costs and of course the actual product itself. But we have had many clients that have done this. Okay. Any other questions on this here? We have a lot of material still to cover here. You guys can certainly always come back to it. I'm sure more questions are going to come that are very similar in nature as we look at the next unit. Okay. So great. This is awesome. Why don't we take a look at the front unit? So again here, just want to stress. I want to stress the point here that in this unit here, we have to add a walkout. We have to add access to this unit. This unit does not have readily access available. So we took a few, we provided a few options. Why does that look black, Jose? It looks black on my screen. Oh, because it's green. Okay.
Because it's green, yeah. I'll change the color.
Okay, awesome. So we actually did something nice here. I think is really nice. And what we tried to do, could you just show both options side by side, just so we can take a look at them both? Yeah. So both options in the front unit, we attempted to make both of these bedrooms, right? So there are two bedroom options because we believe that is it two bedrooms or no? There's one 2-bedroom and then there's one bedroom. So let's look at the 1-bedroom option first because again, this is the cost-effective option. We're always going to look at the cost effectiveness of a project before we look at doing something idealistic. And we only do an idealistic option if we think it's going to have a higher after repair value. Because after you guys have finished this property, you know, we would like you guys to have the ability to pull out or refinance and get much of the money that you put into the property, right? So while this is going to be a family home, we want to make sure that it's treated like an investment and that you guys can actually get the benefits of the investment component of it. So we'll just take a quick look at the 1-bedroom. So right here, real quickly, you guys might notice that there is a stair here. Now I do want to, Jose, could you pull up the 3D of that or pull up the separate sheet that we created? I want to talk a little bit about this just because I know visually this is going to be quite the yeah. So just give Jose a second here. He's just going to pull up the stair configuration within the space. Didn't we already create this, Jose? Why are we recreating this again?
It's another file. Hold on.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Never mind. Let's continue on. Yeah. Okay. So let's give Jose. Jose's he's excellent at what he does. Sometimes the files are just, you know, hidden away. Okay, so could you pull open the PDF that we have on this?
Let me open the other one.
I think you already have it saved inside of the sheets because I was looking at it. Sorry, I just want to really point out how the stairs is going to be configured because it's just a little bit challenging to understand what we're trying to accomplish. Thank you very much, Jose. Thank you. Okay, so could you guys can visualize this. So we're given a 3D option here. So we want you guys to see that we're inside of the garage here, right? So the stairs is actually inside the garage. What we're actually proposing is that we actually, you see the red door? The red door is where the door is currently into the garage. We're going to remove that door. I mean, you can keep it, but actually you can't keep it because someone will fall to their death probably. So you have to remove that door. And what we're doing, we're popping a new door in where that green door is, off to the side of the property. And the stairs is going to go right up to that door. So someone comes, opens that door, and then they walk down the stairs, down into the basement, right? And we already sort of assessed that the headroom clearance is going to be adequate for what it is what we're proposing here, right? So this is one of the options. We thought we would explore this just simply because while our exterior outdoor installation is always great, what we think though is that one is that you don't need that garage. You can convert that garage into completely livable space. But secondly, this is excavation work that can happen at any point throughout the year. Because that soil, I don't want to say that soil is not frozen, but it's definitely not frozen as exterior stairs, right? Or soil. So this work is, and we think that this interior stairs is also going to be better controlled in terms of temperature and so forth. So we wanted to provide this as an optionality to what it is we think is cost efficient, right, to get it done. Now, with that said, I'm just going to move on here. Right up here, this is going to be your kitchen. So you come down the stairs, you walk in, you got your kitchen up top, right? You got your open concept kitchen, living dining room area. And then, of course, you got your washroom right up top here. That's going to be your washroom area. And then you got your bedroom. So this is going to be a 1-bedroom unit. Again, just stressing the point here that what we're trying to do is add a cost-effective option. The cost-effective option does not give you the same after repair value. So just keep that in mind. You spend less on the renovation, but you also get less on the reappraisal of the property, right? So in this case, a 1-bedroom option here. And of course, you got the closets, you got your independent laundry. Every unit will need this independent laundry. Just want to say that if I didn't mention that before. Every unit needs this independent laundry, or you need to have a common laundry on site. Now, I am absolutely not even suggesting that you guys do this. In fact, I will not recommend that you guys do any common laundry setup, just because it's this. First is that you get a better after repair value you get on having the independent laundry units. Secondly, the tenants are going to be more happy with having their own independent laundry amenity. Like for me personally, I will not be washing my clothes in a washing machine that someone just washed their shoes or their mats in, right? So it's just a kind of a hygiene type of matter, and I think it's very valuable that you guys consider putting independent laundry amenities. This can just be condo sizes because these units are small, okay? So why don't we swap on over? Maybe I'll say, do you have any questions right now that we can potentially answer on that? Or do you want us to move on and we can look at that after?
Okay, we'll move on.
Okay, let's move on then. All right, awesome. And I just want to say here again, like I'll walk here, so you guys can see the orange wall up to the top here. That orange wall is actually the fire separation between the unit on the adjacent side. So that's the unit at the back of the property. We have to fire separate that entire unit. Every fire compartment, every dwelling unit needs to be fire separated from each other, in this case by 45-minute fire separation. All right, so we'll make sure that we assemble that wall so that it meets that burn time to ensure that it meets building code requirement. Now, Jose, just to help with the visual here, could you swap this? I do want them to visually see the walkouts, how it actually integrates with the property. This might be a little bit challenging, but I do want them to see that this stairs that we're looking at here is actually walking from surface level down, right? So it's walking down to the door, all right? Is walking down to the door. Could you pull the 3D? Just pull the 3D and let's see if we can actually, you can just pull the regular 3D model and change the option. So let's give them a quick minute here. I think this is really important that you see what this looks like. And by the way, this is not a pre-recorded or pre-practiced presentation. This is how we actually talk all day, by the way. Like, so Jose is very used to this type of like you know, I guess instructions, if you want to call it that. But so we don't pre-plan this. This is just how we work. So yeah, so if you can just like slice it so we can see the stairs. But I think you guys can see what's happening there. The stairs is actually going down. So right here, there's currently a door that's right here, but that door will be removed. That door is to be removed, and then we're shifting the door over here, right? So of course, this is why I'm saying we have this ideal option, which does not require the door to be removed. And then we have another option that could work and actually gives you more the ability to do more with the interior space, but it limits the after repair value. In this case, we're moving the door. That's the entry door into the main level is moved. And then we have a walkout going into the basement. Of course, there will be guardrails. Could you kind of give us a view of how that stairs is going down there, whether you make it transparent or not? Yeah. So I want you guys to see that we're, or move the site, the topography. Okay, so you can see how the stairs are, yeah. So the stairs actually goes down into the basement. So now you can have a better look at this here. So if you look here, you can see that the stairs is going down. The risers are going down, 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 down. And then it goes directly into the door, right? So that's where the second access to the basement that we're proposing can go. Why would we do something like that? One is that it would comply with zoning bylaws, but two, it now allows us to utilize more of the space in a manner that we can actually put 2 bedrooms. So let's take a look at the floor plan. So on the floor plan, so going back there, you can see the green steps going down. It's going down and it pops into the unit. This is going to be the entry into the unit where the orange arrow is. That's the entry into the unit. Right above, I think, what's that? What's that there, Jose? That's the laundry?
That's a laundry room.
So the laundry, and then of course, as you come to the laundry, you also got your washroom here, and then you got your open concept sort of area here that we're talking about as far as the so open concept kitchen, living, dining room. Then we have the kitchen. This is the kitchen, dining room here, and we have the bedroom here. I thought we discussed the 2 bedrooms, but this is 1 bedroom.
I only have 1 bedroom here.
Okay, so pardon me, we actually put 2 1-bedroom options, right? I thought we were exploring a smaller den-like bedroom, which we could very well put here. But with that said, there's 1 bedroom here, all right? So I take those words back there. I know I've been recorded, but I take those words back. We have 2 1-bedroom option, one with the stairs on the exterior, the other option with the stairs on the interior, all right, which is through the garage. And in this case, you just have a slightly bigger utility of space, more utility of space to actually for the open concept kitchen, living, dining room. All right. So any questions that you guys had on this
Yes.
option, or you guys can also go back to the other option and we can also talk about that as well.
Yeah, I have a question about the first option. So with the location of the door into the garage being moved, I guess, okay, one of my questions, or one of the things that we had highlighted on the questionnaire, is that it would be ideal to have direct access from the house into the garage. So it doesn't seem like neither of these options would provide that opportunity. Is that right?
No, so we haven't gotten to the main floor, so we did provide access
Oh, there
from the
is
main floor level into the garage space.
into the garage. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll definitely get to that, but that's a good question, but we haven't gotten to the main floors yet.
Okay. Okay. Sorry to rush. And then for the second option that you presented with the new stairs on the side of the house, maybe this will come up when you discuss the main floor. So, okay, but basically when you're moving the location of the front door, that's going to change the configuration of the main floor as well then, right?
Absolutely. Well, not
Okay.
really. We did do some reconfigurations. Again, what I want to give you guys here is I want to give you guys a lot to think about. Like, I don't want to just bottle you guys into like, this is the option that me, the designer, think is the best. No, really, you're going to be living here. You're going to be occupying the space, and I really want your input. So my job on this particular call and in this role is to be your chauffeur, right? I want to give you the options and say like, look, we want to go downtown, but here's what, we can take the 401, we can take the 404, we can take, the back roads, we can go down by the beaches. Like, I want to give you all the options that are available, and then we can discuss which option I think is best. I'll tell you which option I think is optimal given the ultimate end goal, right? But I want you guys to be able to know what was my thought pattern and why it is I'm suggesting what I'm suggesting. But truly, I know you guys are able to make this decision. This is not some high design here. This is like, we're talking functionality, flow, and of course, not to mention the fact that we're also going to be talking finances here. This is a financial decision that you guys are making here, in spite of all these design stuff we're talking about. So, but with that said, this is the whole idea here is that we give you guys as much to think about. So I will be showing you guys what we did on the upper level, and then we can come back and show you guys how it actually integrates with each of these basement optionalities. All right?
Okay, that makes sense. Thanks, Ronald.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
Ronald, I have a quick question for you.
Yeah, please.
Two. So, in option number one, if you were to go through with the stairs in the garage, would the garage still be usable, or we'd have to convert the garage at that point to something else?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so it's going to be converted into something else. It's no longer going to be a regulated parking spot from a size standpoint, but that's not required when you're converting a single family home into a multiplex. So no parking is required, right? So we'll be fine from that standpoint.
Okay. And my last question is, so basically, the biggest difference between both options is really just the staircase location. Because
Mostly the
everything else,
staircase. Well, I mean,
yeah.
you can see there's some configuration interior-wise, but they're both one bedrooms. But it's definitely the walkout. And I guess you might think from a construction standpoint, not think, but I'm sure this is going to be, say like, well, excavation from the exterior is significantly easier than like with a mini excavator or something like that from the exterior versus the interior in the garage, right? But maybe if this was happening in the height of winter, you might say, well, yeah, the interior option might be the best option, right? Because this is not going to be frozen rock solid, right? So,
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
no problem. Awesome. Okay, good. So we'll continue going on here. Again, still a lot of material, but again, I do want to say all of these floor plans, none of it stands alone. They're all integrated somehow into another option, and we can always go back and forth between options and so forth, okay? So now we're going to just look at what we proposed here on the main floor. So I know this is where it is the parents, auntie, going to be occupying, and we also want to keep in mind that this main level is actually in really good condition. It's what's a shame that it's going to actually have to be, dismantled to some degree. And Nathan, you're gonna have a special time figuring out how that's gonna happen, right? But we have to do some type of dismantling to this here. So, but what it is I want to say is that it doesn't have to be all of it. And in fact, what we're suggesting is that we try to maintain the rear or the back sort of area as much as possible, as well as the kitchen area, right? So the kitchen area, we try our best to limit any modifications to the kitchen. But again, to accomplish the goal to meet some of the items on the questionnaire that you guys sent back, we have to make some modifications. We try to limit those. But I do want to say here, if I haven't said it before, is that the renovation will completely impact all aspects of this property. We are removing the roof. We are installing new, maybe TJIs, new joist probably system. Like, it's going to be nearly impossible for someone to kind of walk on stilts to install these beams ahead or joists ahead, right? So there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be damaged. So please make sure that it is considered. I would have mentioned this to you guys before, but just please note, like, this home is very good. It's going to be very difficult to try to salvage a whole lot of stuff. Now you can dismantle it, remove it, set it aside in storage, and put it back. But most likely, there's a lot of things that will have to be removed so that the tradesmen can actually do their job properly. All right. Just want to make sure that you guys have some understanding of that. But with that said, we are drawing on paper here, so we like to think like everything is like perfect, but things aren't as perfect as they appear on drawings, right? It's very messy on site. But I do want to point out that we're trying our best here to maintain all of the rooms above. Could you guys see the rooms above? You want to highlight those for us, Jose? 1, 2, 3. So we're trying our best to maintain the 3 bedrooms that are currently existing in their current format. I mean, look, we could tear this house up and we can start shuffling around bedrooms and stuff. It's not, but that's a waste of time, a waste of money, and it really shows our lack of understanding for what you guys are trying to accomplish. Unless you guys say to us like, look, you know what? Yeah, we don't want this. But I know, after speaking with you on site, Tanya, and King, like we know that that was not the goal. In fact, you guys were saying like, please, can we keep everything the way it is, right? We're gonna try our best to do that. On this cost-effective option, I want you guys to notice that one, we're keeping the entryway right where it is. Two, we're keeping the bathroom where it is and in its current size. Three, we're keeping all the bedrooms, as we just mentioned, in its place. Four, we're also going to try to maintain the stairs, the interior stairs. So remember on one of the options I said to you guys, like, look, we can tear the stairs out, right? We can tear the stairs out. You guys do not have interior access to the stairs. And I do want to say this, there is not a one-sided benefit to not having access into the basement suites. So you might think to yourself like, hey, Ronald, I actually don't want to go outside and go to each unit and knock on each person's door to ask them questions or for rent or whatever the case is, which is not going to happen, right? However, just keep in mind, there's two things here. One, there's a privacy concern. We're going to have mom and auntie living on the main floor. We don't want tenants having somehow easy access upstairs there, right? Open a door and now, or kick down a door. Or we don't know what's going to happen, right? We don't know how crazy people can get. But I think this is a privacy issue, a safety issue. I think removing the stairs, this gives everybody the comfort of knowing that there's complete separation, right? There's complete separation. Though there's that income generation piece of it, there's complete separation. And now that also gives you the ability in the future to really market the home in the future. You decide to potentially rent out the main floor and the second floor and the basement because you're moving to another home or another country, right? You can simply easily do exactly that and not have to worry that tenants are somehow going to be encroaching into other people's space when they're not there and all these other things. So we're kind of future-proofing this property to become an asset by doing it this way. But I did want to say that we are keeping the stairs for the primary purpose of saving cost. And on this option, what will happen is we are going to fire separate the entire stairs as it leads down into the basement. And now at the end of that stair, you'll have like a storage, maybe an extra storage to put winter gears or something like that. Again, I could have not even included this as an option. I don't think it's the most optimal for what you guys want to do, but I still want to mention it that this is something that we considered that you guys might also want to think about, all right? And of course, this was a big issue, it wasn't an issue, but it was the biggest thing, which is the actual washroom. The washroom is small, and it's like, this is not, auntie doesn't want to like have this little baby washroom there. Let's make it something that she can enjoy. So this is what we did. We made it something that is for an adult, right? Like someone can actually use this and feel comfortable in there. And there's many different things we can do as well. I also just want to make a note here that, and of course the kitchen area and the open concept living dining room area remains essentially the same, right? Like we're not changing much here. Could you turn on the demolition layer? I did want to say, and I mentioned this on site, we are planning, and I would suggest we do, remove that gas-fired fireplace from there, that chimney. I would just remove the chimney, right? For one, you don't want to have gas-fired place in there or wood-fired place. And if you left that space there, as is shown right now, if you just left it there, it's just an extra bulky, chunky thing inside of the space. It will cost to remove it. So I want to be mindful of that. But it is something that I'm suggesting you move it. It will really create this really nice open space. And then, of course, right down here, to answer the question, I think was Tanya, I think you asked the question, like, are we actually having access into the garage? As you can see here, on this option, we actually did create access into the garage. And there is some additional storage or whatever space you want to be. That can be a little office, somewhere that, you can do a lot of things with that space. That can even be a guest room, right? For whatever the reason might be, So this is something that could be done. And in fact, I'll say this, the way that Toronto is going right now, you'll likely be able to do 6 units in a matter of months, right? So maybe this can become somebody's studio right in there. You just shut this off and this becomes a studio, maybe a student, and you're providing them with meals and whatever the case is. Okay, that's outside of this conversation. I just want to say you guys have an extra space down there, right? That could be utilized. And if you guys notice, there is some stairs that is kind of running in front here. You might be wondering what's going on there, Ronald. Well, that stairs actually supports one option. could you just flip the optionality there? Actually, no, don't worry, Jose. Sorry, don't worry. We'll discuss it on the next option. I want to make an overarching statement here. The big overarching statement is that, mom and auntie isn't getting younger. Unfortunately, like I don't know any other way to say that. But the reality is we want to make sure that as they get older, that it's very comfortable. Like if there's any mobility challenge that arise, that are unforeseen, we want to make sure that the space is actually able to accommodate them and their lifestyle doesn't have to change the way that they use and function within the space. So that's something that we're taking into account, and we really try to explore that a bit more on the second option. But you will notice here we try our best to keep things open, right? We try our best to make doors slightly larger. And I would actually, though this is a cost-effective option, which we are not changing a lot, but the doors in this space should really be opened so they are at least 36 inches. Even if we're leaving them at 30 inches or 24-inch doors now, we should have the room to expand them in the future if need be, so that they can be larger doors so mom and auntie can live comfortably. All right? So again, we're just future proofing and future planning here to make sure things are good. And I should just note here this door. So Jose, could you turn back on the demolition layer, please? I did want to just point out here that we are going to reconfigure the kitchen so that it actually is optimal. Sorry, I'll just move. I did want to say we are reconfiguring the kitchen. So the kitchen is going to be, we're going to demolish the wall currently there. And this is going to just open directly into that area that used to be open along the side, right? So we're removing that so that way you still have access to entry points into the main level. So they'll be right there, right? So let me see which hand. This hand, this hand. Okay, there. All right. So to access into the main level. So for example, on this side, you might say, okay, well, we're having a barbecue. You can put a barbecue grill right here, and you can still, can do some stuff. And then you also have access to come out here, walk up to the back, and you have a little bit of green space on the outside. So these are things that we're thinking about and considering. We could make this a little small ramp there so that, it's easier to move up and down. Again, we can future-proof this in the event as our auntie and mom starts aging there. So we want to take all these things into account. Again, but as I said, the kitchen is, you could take down the kitchen and you can put it in storage, and then you can put it back, and with some modifications and with some extra things. And we know this is not Legos. We're not just plugging and playing. Like, there's a lot of things that happen when it comes to removing kitchens and installing them and so forth. But again, really, we wanted to provide the optionality there. And if you look here, if you zoom out one more time, Jose, if you look here, you'll notice that the stairs into the basement is there, right? That green stairs, that's leading directly into the basement from inside the garage, right? So that's the option where it is that front unit has one access into the basement. So any questions there on this one? And we're going to cover similar type items on the second option, but any questions here on this one in particular?
There's a stairs. You move the stairs from the basement and the stuff in the garage. Now,
No, you're
okay.
unmuted. Did you want to?
Yeah. Sorry, just looking at the staircase, like literally, I think all the options, we should just remove the staircase in the main floor, just to turn it to maybe a storage or something. That'll be easier, I think. So like the mom and auntie, they have like fridge that we can even store that in that area or something like that.
The deep freezer.
The deep freezer and stuff. So we can turn that into like a storage, make it easier.
Maybe when we get to the second option, you show us a version that doesn't have the interior staircase, right, Ronald?
Yeah, so we'll talk about that. That's right.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Okay, great. Let's take a look here. Yeah, and I mean, we're getting to all of it, by the way. Again, this one a little less. I do want to point out here that, of course, we're maintaining the bedrooms again, right? So the bedrooms, they essentially are staying in their format at the rear of the property. We're going to try our best to maintain that layout there. We're not going to change anything. The primary bedroom is going to have a slightly larger ensuite, right? It's going to have a slightly larger ensuite. Now we're not affecting or modifying the kitchen from the current entry door, right? But we're adding another door here. So we want to, again, we want to provide access to the rear yard so that you do have the ability to go out into the backyard from the side of the property. I think it's important for that to happen. You guys can simply say, nope, we're gonna just maintain this as the door. Well, remember, this is no longer a door, right? The door is now down here, right? The door is here now, right? So on this option, because, and I want you guys to just maybe don't think anything is set in stone. For example, you guys can say, you know what, we don't want this stairs here, but we want the door there. But I want this option to move the stairs on the inside of the garage, right? So I don't want you guys to, you guys can almost take this when you're reviewing it and say, you know what, these are the things that we like, and I want you to put all these things we like into one floor plan, and we will make it work. All right, so that's why we're having this kind of broad conversation, but yet still we're getting into some of the details and the rationale behind why we're doing what we're doing. Okay, so just want to point out here the ensuite, the primary bedroom, as you mentioned, has an ensuite and it's a little larger. We did cut a new door in, again, modification of the kitchen. So this is where the sink is, I think. We pop a door in so that you can walk all the way out. And then we also, the bathroom. So I want to talk a little bit about this bathroom. We can actually extend this bathroom so it occupies this whole space here, right? And I think that's, and in fact, it have a little sort of like area that we don't know what's there, probably some plumbing, some sort of something is happening in there. We can just take this whole area and convert that into a really nice bathroom. We didn't do that here, this, you know, again, additional cost, but you can definitely do that, knock that out, make that a really nice bathroom that has some real optionality that I think you guys will actually enjoy, right? So, and again, what we're talking about here is the mobility, the accessibility component of it. We can make a much larger door. We can put even a shower that has just more convenience, right? So again, I am future-proofing this. I know, I hopefully I'm not coming across as, I think it's professional to plan for these things. So we are just giving you guys the option. You guys can simply say, nope, that's not going to be the case. And we certainly just leave things as they are. But however, we do think it's a good idea if you can do that. Because I think right down here, what we were doing here, is this a powder?
Powder,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, so that's a powder. So when I look at this space, a 3-bedroom home with 3 essentially water closets, right? And there'll be 2 occupants in this space. It's like, this does not make a ton load of, you know, design or layout sense. But again, sure, we can add the powder here, but we have 2 existing washrooms, right? We have 2 existing
So I know
washrooms.
you said, sorry, Ron, I just wanted to direct 1 minute. I know
Please
you
go right
said,
ahead.
Tanya, that powder room, if possible, on the main floor. So we considered putting an option with the powder room just to show you what it would look like. But ideally, and I know obviously if you have guests coming over, you don't want them using the washroom that maybe your mom and your aunt uses. But if it's gonna give your mom some more, I know she's gonna be using that washroom. If it's gonna give her some more space for the next 5 years or so, that's something to consider. Do we make it an accessible washroom now, or do we enjoy the benefits of a powder room? So it's just pros and cons to weigh there.
Yeah, fair. And so the washroom as it's laid out right now is the existing like configuration, or did we have to reduce the space at all?
This is the existing.
The existing. Okay, cool. Good to know.
Yeah, so let's see the part.
Sorry, Ronald, I don't know if you were done explaining anything, but I was just wondering if there is a coat closet on option 2 that we don't see.
Coat closet
So
into,
No,
they come in
not
through.
in
Okay.
not in option 2. There's just space for a bench and hangers across this whole wall here.
Okay. Okay. So one could be added.
One could be added, yes.
Okay.
one could be definitely added in both options. So that's a good point though. You know, we always try to steal spaces for those things, but yes, those storage, those closet, those arrangement spaces are very important. So we'll make sure to add that into the final iteration, okay? Okay, so that's by the way a good question concerning the or clarification, Ginny, concerning the powder. And again, just on this option here, same idea. If you notice here, again, inside of the actual living room, open concept living room, you do have access into the garage again. The garage is no longer a regulated or a functional parking spot. That's not going to be the case. And you'll notice what it is. This is one of the things that I actually don't have the answer to, but I will find that out. But what it is I'm saying is that we are not trying to modify the garage door. And I know this might sound odd, but what we're going to do, we're going to frame in behind the garage door. And so that it's obviously, it's an enclosed space, but the garage appearance is still going to be on the exterior side, because I think that there is a character matter that's going to be very discomforting for a lot of people to see that you remove your garage door and they'll have all these other complaints. And maybe while I'm on that note though, I will say this as well, Darkos. This is going to be an odd comment I'm going to make here, but as one that I'm going to strongly recommend is that you guys, through us, actually do a open house on what it is you guys are planning to do with your new neighbors. And I know this comes across as like, what are you talking about, Ronald? But all I'm trying to do here is increase the peace, right? Increase the peace amongst the neighbors. You guys are going to be living in this neighborhood. This is not a rental property. Your mom is going to be living there, your auntie, your family. You're going to be raising a family here. It's not going to hurt for you to just simply put up a little sign and say, hey, we're actually proposing a design. This is what it looks like. I'd like if you want to join us, meet us. We're the new neighbors, but we'd like to share what we're planning to do with our property. And I know this comes across as like, this is my slice of the pie. I don't want to tell anybody about my slice of the pie. I just want to eat it. But you know what? I'm just going to say that if it makes sense, if you guys agree with that, we would be more than happy to promote that. And Nathan, obviously, because you want your neighbors to know you're doing this professionally. And I know this is definitely might be very uncomfortable, but we will handle the correspondence and the conversations. But I think it makes sense because we have current projects where it is this did not happen, is not required, but it did not happen. It's not required by the city. You don't need to tell your neighbors unless the city says you have to. The city is not going to ask you to do that, but it's a really good way to manage the relationships with your neighbors, which in this case, you guys will be neighbors, right? So something that you should consider. Please put some thought to it, all right?
Yeah, we'll definitely consider it.
Okay, awesome. All right, good. So this is the option here for the main floor. I mean, there's not a whole lot happening here. We really try to maintain a lot of the spaces, but there are some changes. The door, as we mentioned here, you know, a little bit of change on the access into the garage. That garage space could very well be used for the storage. Maybe you're moving from a home and you have a lot of things that you just don't want to put into a U-Haul storage. Then this can serve as your own personal U-Haul storage that you have there, and now you're not worried about where you're putting stuff at all, right? So this could be an important factor, but if not, it could be utilized as a small office, or you know, maybe a playroom for kids. They can be used in many different ways, right? So
Two quick questions. Do you
yeah.
want to put it?
Yeah, just I'm looking at the entrance for the main floor. Is it possible we can move it right in between those two windows right there? Like to the front.
No, it's not wide
Yeah.
enough. It's not wide enough.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Why not?
Actually, we thought about this. We thought about this actually to remove a window though and put like a larger door with like a side light and stuff. I
Then
mean,
what, we can just extend the window to get like a one full window and just have a door instead?
yeah, you can, yeah, absolutely. So very possible. I mean, more restructuring, right? You have to restructure that, put in LVLs to span that opening and so forth. But like that stuff can definitely be done, King.
Okay.
Yeah, that can be done. As I say, just what we wanted to point out here. So just want to point out here that yeah, you already have two lintels here. If you remove the window and you just remove the base of like where the brick is, you can easily put a door that is probably a specialty door, or special order door that has a side light and a door that fits that opening. So you can do that as well. So, you know, that's definitely a possibility.
Okay.
All right. And we can talk more about that, and we'll talk about that with Nathan as well, because I mean, once you start getting into, look, everything has some cost to it, right? There's no free ride here in any of the things that, and I'm not saying you guys are looking for a free ride, but I just want you guys to know anything that we do is going to cost. For example, as I said here, we're special ordering. If we put the door here, we're special ordering a door that fits this opening. If we put the door here, we have to destroy all the bricks, add a new lintel, kings, jacks, support it, new door. So there's just all these kind of give pros and cons, pros and cons. It's like, which way do we want to go here, right? So I think what I would suggest with you guys is that maybe from this standpoint, I would say like think about lifestyle first. Lifestyle, like how do you want to live? How do you want to feel in this space? And then start to value engineer from there based on what it is the cost kind of comes back as, right?
Yeah.
So I have to run to a work meeting. So King and my aunt will continue on, but I just had a quick question. So in this option one, I know you gave additional room to the primary ensuite bathroom. So for my aunt who is here right beside me, she will attest that she has a lot of things. She has a lot of clothes. And her concern is with the existing space for the closet, even if, you know, a really cool organization system is put in there, that she's not going to have enough space. Is it possible to take some of the space that you've added for that expanded bathroom and use it for extra closet space?
Would you want to explore like a walk-in closet, Tanya, or that's too much?
I'll let Glenda respond. She's right here.
Hi, Miss Glenda.
Where would they put the walk? Where would, but you know the layout. Where would the walk-in closet go?
She's wondering, where would a walk-in closet go? Would it compromise the enlarged bathroom?
Yeah, so I mean, kind of a difficult, not difficult, but we don't want to make too much mods here to right now, but we'll certainly take that into account. There is a dimension where we could explore removing the closet from the other room, the other bedroom right adjacent there, and kind of extend this by another closet size. So if you were to delete that there, essentially this is what could be done. Very cost effective, and you end up getting maybe another 36 inches of closet space, and you can rearrange the doors and so forth, right? And then of course you can just put a regular IKEA wardrobe inside of the middle bedroom, right? Or we can just frame in another small closet. So that's an option there as well, right? So, and of course, look what Jose is doing there. He's basically showing how you can maybe still even steal the linen closet to add a small little bed thing there. Now, alternately, I think what we got to really talk about here, Ms. Glenda, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yeah.
Is that we want to know from you what's more important, to have a washroom that you can actually, really enjoy yourself in there, have fun, be comfortable, or you would rather have more storage for clothing? Because as I said, there's no free ride. It's either we said, okay, we're going to put a smaller washroom, maybe a stand-up shower stall, a smaller stall, or something like that, in exchange for more storage. So you want to think about what do you think you will need, not only today but in the future. Would you need more storage for clothing, or are you willing to consider donating some of that clothing? All right, maybe that's too much of an ask, right? But or do you want to have a larger?
So my clothes will not be donated. What you see in my bedroom, there is no space to hang anything. It's mostly shelves.
That's okay. That one we can just take it. We can just
but concentrate on my bathroom.
That's all right.
So I think the bathroom is the most important thing. The closet, I mean, whatever Jose just did right now, that was a little impressive to extend. If you can extend it a little bit, and we can just buy the shelves and just reorganize it, make it way better.
Yeah, okay, so we will spend a little time, we'll take that into account. We will still try to extend some more wardrobe or closet space within the existing confines of the walls there. And we'll try to get the best of both worlds by getting more closet space, but also making sure that there's a very comfortable bathroom layout in there. And
Yeah.
then we can always do some minor tweaks after that. But thank you very much, Ms. Glenda, for adding that piece of information in there. We will make sure we add some more storage space in there for you, okay?
Hey,
Yeah.
Ronald, I have a quick comment. It's like an idea. Um, so I really like the idea of the future proof stuff you're saying. Like, I see my projects the same way. You know, that if possible, future proof it because you never know where you're going to be. And maybe they don't want to use this house anymore. Maybe they want an investment property. One of the things I was mentioning, King, I don't know if you remember, I just want to see what Ronald's ideas are and maybe even just bounce it off you, see what your thoughts are. Ronald, what do you think about potentially like running like rough-ins in between floor joist or whatever for like a potential in the future if they ever wanted to make this main floor 2 units, they could like let's say like you break this wall, break that wall, and you put up one wall, and then now you could have like a kitchen and stuff like that, like a bathroom. But now since like we're opening up the walls and things like that, maybe we run the rough-ins like cap it off. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, yeah, that's I mean, again, this boils down to the financial feasibility, the budget that's allocated for such things, because that will certainly cost. But that's a really interesting point you bring up, because the city of Toronto is right now piloting 6 units in North Scarborough. So by the end of this year, more than likely, you'll have 6 units in Etobicoke, right? Like that's just what's going to happen. So it's not really wild to think that adding additional units or preparing for that is something that's worthwhile. Now, I will say, just given the fact that this is not going to be a short-term thing, you're probably thinking like, Mom, Miss Glenda and Mom is going to be here for a while, and they're going to be living there, and they want to have the comfort of the space. It's a big space to maintain, but they want to have the comfort of the space. I would say you maintain it like that, and then you obviously think through what would be the cost of roughing in some of these things that Nathan just mentioned, like a bathroom, like a second kitchen, and so forth, because it might make sense in the future. And if you don't do it now, it just means in the future you'll have to disrupt the tenant in the basement to do that work, right? So, but what I think though, just based on the questionnaire we received and conversations with Tanya and Doc and King, is that they're going to use the space the way that we're preparing it for a while, until they probably consider another home that they would and then this can be completely a rental income generating machine, right? So but King,
Yeah.
Tanya, and Ms. Glenda, you guys can decide how you would like us to proceed. We can certainly show you what that could potentially look like, okay?
So yeah, I think at the moment we're gonna definitely do just continue with what the plan is right now, because as we said, cost is a big factor here too, right? At the same time.
Yeah.
We just gotta make sure that we are, because it's a great idea what Nathan is saying, but at the same time the cost effective right now. We just gotta make sure we can just be able to because manage whatever is there right here at this moment.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. None. And Nathan, we can always explore that a bit more, right? So that's not a problem. Okay, good. All right, so we are kind of done with the main floor here. I know we're running tight on time here, guys, but I do want to get through this material, so I'll kind of go through the main floor. So this is the crown jewel of this whole project, not because it's the best level, but simply because it's the new level. We're going completely the second story here, so quite interesting. Okay, good. So this is the property here, right? So I'm going to step out of the way here for a second so you guys can take a look at that. You can see here we have two options. One option, we have 3 bedrooms. Well, I should say this, every option has bedrooms, a primary and 2 secondary, as well as a den in case friends, families wants to come over, hang out,
Yeah.
right? Stay a night or two. There is multiple washrooms as well as an open concept kitchen, living, dining room in one of the particular option. And there's of course laundry and additional storage and so forth. And you will notice in here that there's multiple configuration for the actual egress, the stairs into the property as well, which is into the unit, which will be on the second floor. So could you just, before we look at the option here, Jose, could you pull up the 3D model? So could you give me the existing? Could you go to shaded just so we can see what it looks like? It's just some more, I guess it's easier to see. Yeah, so this is it here. This is what we're proposing. Could you go back to the existings? So this is what exists today, right?
Yeah.
And we're going up 1 story. So this is what the property would look like essentially, right? And if we were to do this, could you do the optionality so we can see what the both options look like from a 3D standpoint? So in one option, we're proposing that you put a little bit of a deck in the front. It will be a nice touch. The second option would be there's no deck in the front, right? We're enclosing this. Is more like a green space almost. You know, it's a lot of natural light. And we can add more glazing in front of this property, by the way, to balance it off, to create a more aesthetically appealing look. So that's something that I just want to kind of highlight here. Could you just take the roof off the top and just give me a slice of the property so we can just take a look in it, so we can give me a dollhouse view and just zoom in so we can take a look at the various spaces. Thank you. All right, great. Let's just zoom in a little bit on the spaces there so you can see what it looks like. Just go from top and just do the swap on the options. Thank you. So you can see here that we actually have, this is the option essentially from a top view. I mean, this looks a little more like, it's just more graphically easier to understand. Just go back to the other option. You can see one option is like this. The other option is like this, right? This is the kind of layouts that we give. You can flip to the dollhouse kind of view, give us a little axonometric there. Yep, so this is essentially what it looks like. And while we haven't done much 3D, I will say this is actually the first iteration of this, so we haven't really done much work on the 3D modeling, so it's just very basic. But on the next iteration, we are going to get more detail with the 3D renderings and the models and the walkthroughs, so we'll spend a lot more time doing that. But for now, you guys can get a sense of what this kind of look and feels like, right? So let's just go back to the floor plans now so we can talk a little bit about the floor plans. So again, just want to point out here that the bedrooms are all located at the back. And the whole idea here from a construction standpoint, but really from a practical standpoint, is that we try to stack sleeping quarters. We like to say bedroom banks. So bedrooms above bedrooms. We're also trying to stack plumbing. So we try to put bathrooms over bathrooms. And then we also, so we call those the utility spaces, right? So bathrooms and so forth. And then we also try to stack all of the entertaining spaces. So kitchen, living, dining room. We try to stack all those spaces so they're all just one above each other. One is that it certainly helps with the construction, especially as it relates to the plumbing. So once you stack all your plumbing, it's easier. Plumber just comes, run all the pipe all the way up. And that's great, easy to be done, and they can easily fit into one wall versus multiple walls everywhere around. But two, it also does help to manage the comfort to the occupants on the other levels. So if you're on the second level, the kids like running and jumping around, you know, then that's going to disturb Mom and Miss Glenda in the nighttime. So we're not going to put your living room over Miss Glenda's bedroom, right? Like that can certainly be problematic. So, and so that we try to maintain that just in general. So we are going to put all the bedrooms just along the back, very similar to what's on the main floor. There's a reduced likelihood that there's going to be disruption during various hours, right? So with that said, here, and Jose, I know I actually did some jig here, right? So work with me, right? So we made an expansive. So the bedrooms are the bedrooms. The bedrooms all have closets, but I want to talk, maybe let's talk about this first. Let's talk about the primary. So the primary bedroom has an ensuite,
Okay.
right? As an ensuite, and we also, so we can choose to make this still have a secondary door that still functions as a second washroom. So one kid is in one washroom, the other kid could use the other washroom if mom and dad is not using theirs without coming into the room. So that's an optionality. You can lock it off, or you didn't even need to have a door there, right? But so that's going to be the ensuite. Now King, you can say to us like, look, man, I like this little cute little washroom here, but I need more room. I need a washroom that's fit for a king, right? And we can fix that up for you, right? So this is, again, first iteration. Nothing is cast in stone. We just wanted to make sure that you
Sorry,
guys can
that's
see.
the ensuite, right?
That's the ensuite. That's right.
Yeah, the ensuite definitely. I mean, that would be is it if I'm looking at it. Okay.
Yeah, so it's smaller. That's for sure. It's smaller. We can enlarge in that. Like if we can enlarge in that. Again, it fits the bill. So there's a tub, right?
Yeah.
It fits the bill for a washroom, right? Is it fit
Yeah.
for a king is a whole different question, right? It probably isn't.
It doesn't. Yeah.
But it fits the bill, has all the elements in there. So you got your vanity, your water closet, and your tub, and it have enough circulation room for both you and your wife to kind of maneuver in there. So it fits the bill, but we can certainly enlarge it. So that's something that you guys can make a comment on and say, look, very cute, but like we need more, right? And we can make that happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we can
Now,
get more on that side, that'd be great.
yes. Okay. Wonderful. Sorry. Yeah. Excuse me 1 second. So yeah. So now we're gonna move on over here to this area. We wanted to put the washroom, give the alternate, and you'll see the other option as well. So by the way, there's no cost-effective option with this design. It's just two ideal option that just has different plays on different areas.
Yeah.
But we like to put the laundry area close to the bedroom because that's where laundry usually comes from. It comes from bathrooms and bedrooms, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that we actually did on this option. So I'll just pull this open here, so you can actually see that we do have a laundry here. This is an expansive laundry. You can have a laundry tub, or sorry, sink, and you can have a really nice laundry. You can decide to put floor models. You can put stackable. You can probably put a countertop in there to fold clothes and different things like that. So we wanted to make it expansive, but you might say, you know what, we actually we have a cleaner that comes in and takes our laundry, so we don't need to have this large room. We just need to have a small room, right? So you guys can let us know how big you want that to be. What is the functionality you need inside there? Right now I'm simply showing that, and as I said, like two highlighted blue items is the tub, right? So the laundry tub and the actual laundry appliance, and then of course we can also add a laundry counter in there, right?
Okay.
So those are the three pieces that we could put in there. Of course, you can just simply have a laundry closet. It's just a closet that holds the laundry. That's it, right? So this is something that you can consider here as well. Of course, you can see it is kind of a reduced corridor that leads into this more expansive corridor. Here's where most of the traffic is happening. And then as you come this way here, you can see that that's actually the more expansive bathroom. And I wanted to do a bathroom that actually had more elements. And
Yeah.
maybe this is a strange thing that probably don't really happen in most people's spaces, but we did have a stand-up shower and a tub. I mean, we wanted to create something that's bigger, that's just better. Maybe a big kid is having a shower, but a little kid can be I don't know, right? But again, this is just a space that has more functionality for a larger family, right? Not that you're family planning, but it's a larger, more comfortable washroom. And also you'll notice that there is privileges for this den. This den is actually a little sort of space that is for a friend coming over to spend the night, families traveling, they're stopping by. You guys can have a space where they can feel comfortable and they have access directly into the washroom and so forth, right? That might even be an Airbnb room right there, who knows, right? So, but with that said, on the other side of that, you got your open concept kitchen, living, dining room with an island,
Yeah.
right? So we just decided to give the optionality. Again, I will say there's benefits, there's pros and cons to to have an open space, open concept. Everybody talks about it like, let's get open concept, open concept. Here's the challenge with open concept. One is that when someone opens the door in the winter, the whole place gets cold, right? Like the whole place gets filled with cold air. That's one. But as you can imagine, like maybe, you know, you like, you know, I like curry, by the way. I love my curry and roti. But I'll tell you this, you know, that thing can smell the whole house up, right? And if you have this open concept and somehow your fan, your exhaust fan isn't working as you expect, you can have a problem, right? So,
Yeah.
so there's pros and cons to having the open concept. So we did want to give you guys the optionality. So within the open concept, we did have a nice expansive pantry. In the event tariff actually come, you can store up enough goods in there to feed, you know, at least the neighborhood for a few days, right? But your
Yeah.
family for weeks, right? You can buy your stuff and store it in there. Nice, expansive, great storage you can put in there. And then, of course, your open concept kitchen, living, dining room. This really is nice and expansive out here. And as you can see, we do. So that's just, I mean, this is grand, by the way. This is not a little space. This is very big in terms of a kitchen and an open concept kitchen, living, dining room. And I do want to point out here that we also have a powder room that is right off the actual space as well. Now, I will say this. There is some, I don't want to say privacy matters, but look, you know, friends come over, someone wants to use the washroom. They may not just necessarily like just going across the hall where everyone's seen them going into a washroom. But that's the point of a powder, is to actually have something that is not in your family space, right? It's like
Yeah.
no one's going and using the washroom where you have your toothbrush and stuff like that, you know? So, so we decided to tuck it into the entertaining space because it is an entertaining function, right? And then, of course, you got your staircase here with lots of natural light. This space is going to be really great. Of course, if you guys decide to go with this particular option, once we get to the actual layout piece of things, we're going to do a nice 3D walkthrough and you'll see, get a really sense of how the space, how the feel of the space is. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot happening here, but it's a basic floor plan that we configured here. And I will say this, we have only provided 2 options. I think anyone can kind of imagine there is like hundreds of different configurations here, right? That can potentially happen. We're just providing 2 that we think are the most optimal, all right? And they all meet building code compliance. So let's take a look at this option here. Where are we? Okay, yeah. Oh, we're missing a wall. I think I removed a wall probably. Are we on the main floor level? Okay, good.
This
Nice.
is the second floor.
That's second floor.
Second floor, sorry. Second floor, we got the bedrooms again up top with a very similar ensuite, right? So all the 3 bedrooms, primary bedroom is equipped with an ensuite, right? In this option here, there is, we deliberately try to, so sorry, Jose, I think I removed a wall. I think I removed a wall for the kitchen. I don't know. Maybe is that what I did? No, I didn't actually. I didn't.
No, not this one.
Okay, got you.
This one, yep.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, sorry guys, I was fiddling around with this, and that's why. But anyway, with that said, you can see in the back here, there's just a slightly larger kind of corridor back here.
Yeah.
Is it necessary? Not, but it actually, sometimes having cramped up spaces is kind of something you can live with for a while, but then you say like, why didn't we just make this like larger, right? Like, you know, every time I'm walking through the hallway, I'm bumping into everyone. It's just like, this doesn't feel like it's fit for a king. So this hallway definitely fit for a king. In fact, it's fit for a gym. You know, you can probably put some workout gears in this thing, right? It's large, it's big. So you can definitely, is this a much more comfortable space for circulation? And then of course, this is really nice. I like this. And you guys may like it, maybe not. You guys may say, you know what, let's swap these spaces out. But what it is we have done here is basically, this is the dining room and the kitchen area, right? Dining room and kitchen area, right kind of in the middle of the home, is the heart of the home. But you guys may say, you know what, let's put the dining room down here and let's put the TV room up here. Like again, really optional, but however, what we're trying to do here is separate the entertaining, because this is where people are going to be watching TV, hanging out, joking around, laughing around. Or you might
Yeah.
say like, no, we're going to be preparing meals and we're going to be watching TV in this area. So it just depends on how you want to do it. But again, this is further questions that we're going to kind of ask you guys. How do you guys entertain, right? Do you guys entertain with mostly formal like eat like dinners, or do you guys entertain like rowdy, like Super Bowl rowdy, right? Like where everybody's like, yes, getting into a party mood. So that's again very basic stuff here. We do have on this side of the kitchen, we have. Could you give me that room there, Jose?
Powder?
The powder room?
Yep. So that's the powder room up top there. And this here is just some coat storage. So when you come in, come up the stairs, coat storage right above, hang the coats and stuff like that. And then of course you have to this side here, you have again sorry, I am actually not seeing this, Jose.
Sorry,
Is
it's a
this we have
laundry.
it? Washroom and laundry room, right? So we have the laundry room right here. We have the washroom, and then we have that's the
This one's
laundry.
the laundry.
So it's a large laundry. All right,
Yeah.
very large, expansive. You can definitely have significantly more stuff happening inside there. And then we still included a den to the front of the property. And that's, of course, you can use that den as a space for of course, you can use it as an office, right?
Yeah.
And you can probably have what's it called, a futon in there or something. There's so
pull
many
up.
different things that can then be rolled out as a bed if a friend came over to stay, or if you so it can be used for different things. And then of course you have the open concept area here, and the stair configuration, as you can see, changed and modified to allow for a front outdoor area, because we wanted to give this as an option simply because you guys will not have like an outdoor access without this. You guys will not have that outdoor access. So maybe this might actually play really well for you guys. So this is the second option for the main floor level. Again, there's a lot of similarities, but there's also some differences. And we wanted to point those out. And maybe I'll just say this before I kind of close out here and answer questions, is that you guys can choose between any option. There's nothing here. You guys can say, you know what, but I like the configuration of the living room in option 1 for the second floor, but I don't like the location of the washroom in option 1, so use option 2 for the powder room. And you can make those comments. We will integrate that into a final layout that is suitable for what you want to do. And of course, you can add as many different commentary as you like, and we will integrate it and then complete a final layout for you, or at least the final draft layout, and we will then complete it with 3D walkthroughs and some imagery that you can actually have a better view of what the space will look like. And also we'll do that with 3D walkthrough, which will give you a much more volumic experience so you can see how the space may potentially feel. All right, so any questions here?
Yeah, I got one. And this is more directed, I guess, to the Darkos, sort of.
Oh, sorry,
But
who's speaking?
it's Gabe.
Oh, Gabe. Oh, Gabe
Yeah,
is on the
yeah.
call. All right. I was like, whoa,
Yeah,
who's
yeah.
this?
Yeah. So, okay. So my question is gonna be, since obviously we're gonna be adding the new level, I was wondering if the Darkos, I don't see it here in the plans because obviously we're in bird's eye view and we're looking at square footage, but I was wondering if they're gonna take the opportunity to increase their main floor level to either a 9-foot or a 10-foot. And if they're going to take the opportunity for the second floor addition to make that a 9-foot or a 10-foot. So I just wanted to ask that question and throw that out there if they were considering that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll take a first stab at that there, King. So I would suggest that the main floor remain at its current height. We just simply beef up the structure to accommodate the new floor above. However, the second story, again, the whole idea, because this is new, The only limitation we have is in height, and not really quite a limitation. So we can certainly go up. So Jose, what's the minimum? What's the maximum height? Is it 11 meters, like about 39 feet or so?
9.5 meters.
9.5 meters. Okay. So yeah. So again, 9.5 meters. How much does that work out to in feet? So that's about that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 6, 8. So yeah. So that's almost about 40 feet, right? What do we have there?
Yeah, it's 9.5 meters.
Yeah, so it's 11 meters. I am almost certain about that. It's 11 meters, but we'll double check it.
31 feet.
31 feet. Okay. So with that said, so we will double check that, Gabe. But to answer your question, the second floor we probably can go to maybe slightly more expansive. You're building new. You can easily get 10-foot studs, 10-foot drywall, and you can make a 10-foot ceiling, which is just an easier modification versus trying to tweak the main floor, which is like now adding this sort of ladder and building it up an extra foot and so forth. I think that's going to be problematic. But again, if that's something that King wants, absolutely. But with that said, we can certainly, I think I agree with you. That's a good point, Jose. You should make a note of that. Just let's make a very deliberate point here of potentially making the second floor maybe 10 feet versus 8 feet. It costs more, but it will be a space that just feels significantly better experientially. Sorry, King, I think you're muted.
Yeah, sorry, guys. Were you saying you want to extend the second floor a little up? That's what I'm getting. The height? Was it that's what we're talking about?
Yes, so that's what it is Gabe mentioned. He was asking if that's something that you guys are considering. And what I'm suggesting is that that is a great consideration, but is one that's extremely nuanced, right? It's not like it's like they have to essentially create a short wall. Let's say your existing wall is 8 feet. They have to
Yeah,
essentially frame out a short wall that's 2 feet
I'm
and
put on
put it
top.
on top of that wall. I don't think it's a great use of funds, with the exception of the fact that if you say like, look, man, like we love high ceilings. Like, my auntie is like, she's a tall lady. She's like she's growing. She's a growing lady. Yeah, but yeah, I'll say keep the main floor, and I'll say the second floor definitely consider going up an extra two
Yeah,
inches, maybe 9 feet, 10 feet, because especially if we can meet the headroom,
yeah.
the height requirement from a zoning standpoint, and that way we can actually add more. We can add. It just feels better. I think the space will feel better for sure with a higher ceiling. So that's a really good point you brought up, Gabe.
Yeah, the second floor, like that one definitely we can just make it high. But I feel like the main floor, the height is good enough for now, for sure. They look like it's a great height on that side.
Yeah, I think it's good.
So the second floor, like, and what about one? Well, I know I'm moving from what next, like the basement is has a height. I know you guys came here, did all the measurement, has a height for everything.
Yeah, the heights are good.
All right, okay. I guess yeah, the main,
Jose,
the
could you
second.
pull the height up? I don't know, you didn't tell me anything about the heights, Jose.
Yeah, one moment, please.
So yeah, while Jose is pulling that up, I'll just say like there has been some recent changes to the building code. So we were previously operating under 2012 building code with a series of amendments, but
Okay.
then they revisited and revised the Ontario Building Code to harmonize with the National Building Code, the NBC. So now there's some harmonization, which actually creates more flexibility from a code standpoint. So I'm still reviewing that to see how that impacts all the projects we're doing this year, because it came into effect on January the 1st, 2025. So, headroom clearance is very important, but I'll be doing a much more deeper dive once we get to the permitting piece of this. But why don't you give
Okay.
me the height requirement there, Jose? The headroom clearance?
Yeah, we have 8'1" on the main floor, 8 foot on the second floor, 7 foot 2 on the basement.
Yeah. So you need 6 foot 10 3/4 or 6 foot 11 for a minimum height in the basement. So your basement does meet the headroom clearance. So no need to do any underpinning work or anything like that.
Okay, so I think the second floor is why we just might have to go up a little bit, just make it feel a little more way comfortable.
Yeah. Jose, could you change it to shaded just because present, is this easier to like kind of visualize some of this stuff? Yeah. Yeah. So what this Gabe is suggesting is that we actually, well, not such, he wasn't suggesting this, he was just asking if this is something that you want, right? So with the main floor is going to remain the same, Gabe, but the second floor will go up. We'll just verify that it complies with the maximum
Yeah.
height to the roof ridge from a zoning standpoint.
And Ronald, quick question while we're here, while we're doing
Yeah, no,
that.
go right ahead.
What do you think about the flat roof?
Oh man, those are difficult to maintain. First thing first, you'll have to get certified installers. They're expensive. The roof is
Oh,
going to cost more as a system to install. I know it might sound counterproductive, but it costs more depending on if you're doing what's it called? Not EPA. T. Anyway, there's this like membrane that you can stick down. That's one, but there's the
okay.
other membrane where you have to actually fire it with tar and stuff like that, and sort of bitumen. But with that said, I worked in the commercial space, and you know my last tenure before I actually started my business was with Scotiabank as their project manager in real estate, and my job was to manage all their buildings and make sure that they were ready for sale. And if I were to tell you, King, the one thing that I hired numerous contractors for, in fact, like this was the one job that I had to do most. Before every single building was sold, we had to like repair the roofs, and all of their roofs were flat roofs, most of them anyway. Those roofs, if it's not installed properly, there's many different systems you can use. You can use gravel on top, you can use bitumen, you can use sloped what's it called? Rigid board insulation. You can slope the joint. Like there's many different ways to do it, but it doesn't matter which way you do it. That membrane is a weak point because it's directly exposed to the climate. Hot, cold, hot, cold. It's a lot of maintenance, and if it's not installed properly, you're going to have areas where water is gathering. Is your rainwater leaders and your drainage properly sloped? It's just like so much consideration. For a homeowner, I wouldn't recommend it. It's too expensive a system to maintain. Whereas with a sloped roof, you put your shingles on there, you get your 25-year warranty. With this flat roof system, you're going to have to maintain this every year to make sure everything is good. Maybe not every year, but much significantly more, right? So
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend it for your residents here.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, that's good.
No problem. Yeah, awesome. By the way, Nathan, what are your thoughts on that? Flat roofs.
I have a property that has a flat roof, and it is a headache.
Okay.
The house that I have, an investment property, um, it starts to sag over time, you know, and it can be done properly, but if for some reason it's not done properly, that issue is something you will face, you know, because like over time you have snow falling there in our climate, like you have snow, it piles up, things slowly over time start to sag, and then that's when you run into issues, you know.
Okay. Point that.
Unless you were thinking of doing like you know, like a rooftop thing, like I don't know, a little patio up there, I would suggest it, but if not, then
Yeah, there was a thought about doing something like that, but that would be, I don't know yet.
if
Time.
if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure I saw in one of Ronald's things, I think it's that option 2 on the right. There's like a balcony there, right, Ronald?
Yeah, there's a balcony above the garage.
Which might give you the same thing that you were looking for, King.
Yeah, it's okay. Like I think we should definitely be okay with
So
that.
yeah, so to Nathan's point, that will have to be a sort of a sleeper system. So that'll be essentially be a flat roof that you're building a deck on.
Yes.
So we have to do some sleepers, make sure it's ventilated, make sure it's waterproof. There's a little more maintenance there, but we can manage this. This is you know, don't have to do much to manage this. However, the entire flat roof, it's a big job. Certified installers, they're expensive. Like insurances, like there's a lot of things that can go wrong with that. Like so, again, just yeah. So I do
Okay.
agree. Yeah, it's a roof that they last long, but the maintenance, I don't know how the payback is on that, but they last long if you maintain them frequently. But you know, you pay a lot for it upfront too.
Okay. Okay. That's okay. Now, and the main second floor, if you go back to the drawing that you have, like I feel like I think I like you see the first one, I like the option one that have the big open concept. But I feel like this one look a little closer. The second option is a little closer with a corridor, right?
Why don't you pull the 3D, Jose? Give the doll houses on this, like no way, just for the visualization, slightly easier. Just give him a quick second here, there, King.
No worries.
And yeah, so I like, so you understand how to use this, right? Like nothing is cast in stone. We're simply ideating here and giving you ideas. So absolutely, you have the option of just saying, I like the open concept on option one, but I
Yeah.
really like the den location in option two. And we'll combine them both, right? So, but that's where it is your input. Like I said, we're the chauffeur, but you know what? I can tell you there's a bumpy road ahead we can get there faster, and you can say, you know what? Nope, wife is pregnant. Not going up that road. Let's go a different way, right? And we will take you that way then, right? So, okay, so let's say, yes, so this is the option here. You're gonna give a slight tilt to this, Jose, so we can look at the axonometric view. Yeah, just so you can see what that looks like there. So to your point, yes, this is a more of an open scenario here, right? Obviously, I think with the whole kitchen layout is there's a lot to be sort of discussed concerning that. But with that
Yeah.
said, yeah, it's definitely one of those things that could be a thing, and this is the other option, right?
Yeah, that option is like it look close, right? It look like it's a close kitchen kind of thing.
And again, I do want, I think I point out the pros and cons of that. You can decide which way you like the modern way of doing a kitchen is open,
Yeah.
right? However, as I said, it just depends on how your family utilize the kitchen, right? Like if you guys do lots of cooking, but not so much entertaining, you guys are doing more formal dinners, probably having something like this might work, right? Maybe, but again, most
The
of the
wife,
modern way is doing it with a open concept.
the wife is entertainer, so
Yes.
she love those stuff. Anyway, so
Amazing.
yeah, I think everything looked great so far. So there's still, I guess, as you said, there's more to go on to look at stuff and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
so far so good.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, well, we will tweak this based on some of the comments. Well, here's what I'll say. First thing first, the drawings that we have right now, we're actually going to send all these drawings to yourself, Darkos, right? We're going to send this to you guys, and we're also going to send this to Nathan. All right.
Okay.
So as I mentioned to you guys will have a 3D model that you guys will be able to manipulate. I'll prepare a small video that gives basic instructions on how to use the viewer, how to use the tools. For you, Nathan, particularly, you'll have the ability to, you know, select all the windows, select all the doors, like go through the structure, and you know, you'll have the ability to slice the building up, look at different aspects and so forth. So that's what this will provide for you, so that you guys can actually have that. But for you, again, King, maybe you guys don't really care that much, but you care that your team has access to this stuff, but we'll still share that with you, okay?
That's the most important thing. Like have access to it, and at least we can all be on the same page at the same time.
That's right. Okay, good. That's a wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah. While we're talking about that, I just want to make sure the second floor, the what do you call it? I know it's not nothing's set in stone yet, as you said. I just want to the washroom, the ensuite washroom. That one we can just do something about it to extend it more. That'd be great.
Okay, good. That's going to be an important one there. Okay, Jose?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, great. So This is good stuff, man. So by the way, was this call valuable or what? Let me hear you guys. I want to hear the feedback on, was this call valuable? Did you guys really get a sense of what we did from a design standpoint?
Yeah, like it's very like to me it's new to me, right? So it's very interesting and it's very good. Like it's like giving more a little more understanding about what is going on instead of just hearing about it. But right now you're looking at it, what you're facing and stuff like that. So it's very good. It's very good to me right now.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Okay, great. I really appreciate that there, King. With that said, we're going to wrap it up here. Nathan, you had any final comments? Gabe, you had any final comments before we wrap it up here?
I just cut out right. Go ahead.
No,
I just cut out at the end there, so I missed what what King said. You said something, and then it just cut out because my Wi-Fi died.
Oh, jeez. No, he was just saying like it was the presentation was clear. Now he has an understanding of what it is he's getting. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have no more questions or anything. Gabe, you have any questions or anything like that, or?
No, man. Thanks for the time for putting this together.
No, appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, great, guys. Well, look forward to those emails. They'll come out. Give us about next day. All right, about 24 hours or so. We'll have these things out to you guys, so you guys can start doing your work. Nathan, Gabe, if you guys have any questions, need a further clarification, so you can start prepping. I mean, I would say that probably now is not the time to necessarily jump in because the final option isn't really selected, but at least you guys can start the kind of mulling over like what's the potential here, right? So, but I wouldn't dive into deep quantity surveys because then there's still a lot to be done here still, right? From a building code standpoint and finalizing the design. So with that said though, we'll send this out to you guys. I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining on this call. And we look forward to doing it one more time with you, King. Let's go.
Thank you so much for your help. Like, really appreciate you guys and your time. And at the same time, we're looking forward to get all this done between the two teams. So we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for your help.
Thank you.
And,
Thanks.
yeah, okay. So looking forward to see you guys and looking forward to see this in real life.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it too. Okay, I'll see you guys soon.
All right. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.